So I've had some conversations with viewers about making guitars and different methods in doing so, and I wanted to go through something in FreeCAD. This is just a basic example of something that just looks like it represents a guitar, But the concept of making this is one way of doing it. Again, there are many ways, and I want to cover those ways in future videos. This is a way of doing it with surfacing. So let's go through how to make a guitar-like shape in this video with one of many possible methods. First thing is, how about we make a new part? And if you'd like to follow along, I guess I'll make this. I like sketching in the part design because I can click sketch here and visually see my planes and orient it the way that I want to. So let's say that we're going to be sketching the front of the guitar on the XZ plane. And I'm going to make a basic guitar shape. Maybe we'll see how my sketching goes. Maybe this will be a little bit more realistic than the one before that I just showed you. Oh, that kind of looks guitar-like, maybe up until that last arc. Now let's grab a tangent relation and I'll pull up a keyboard monitor for hotkeys. We're going to go T for tangent, and let's make sure all of these arcs get tangent. And then I'll merge these points, make them coincident, or whatever the lingo you want to use about that is. That's kind of a interesting looking guitar. It's like something Picasso or Jackson Pollock would do, or maybe Monet, Clyde Monet. The impression of a guitar more than an actual guitar. But I mean, this is probably enough that we can get a job done with it. Let's add in a tangent over here as well. That's kind of funny looking. Well, some of the stuff I just need to constrain, so it'll stay put. We'll give this a small radius, maybe 5. Right, and then I'll do an equal with the E key here. And, I might as well add an equal relation on these guys. Maybe I can make this guy centered. I'll make it coincident there. Maybe I'll start down here with radius. We'll up that to 125. 100, 35 is fine, 150, obviously not, All right. Go with 75. $140 looks okay, but this guy needs to be smaller. Maybe 100, if this will ever cooperate with me. I'll take this as a vertical dimension with Shift V, right? Click on that point, Shift V to 200. Bring that guy down, horizontal to 100. Another horizontal, negative 100. And that's, of course, Shift H to get that, but you can already see that on the keyboard monitor. That's looking kind of guitar-like there. Go with negative 20. 10 is fine. We have 9 degrees of freedom. Yes, looks like that's one of them. I like that about right there. We'll give that Control H and negative 75 perhaps. 8 degrees of freedom. A lot of that is up in here. Give that a radius of, say, 50. I might as well give this guy, there we go. Give this guy, nope, that already has a radius on there, 10, hiding from me. Give that a horizontal dimension of, I guess that didn't work. Give this point, we'll get a horizontal dimension up to 5. Looks like it would work. We're down to 7 degrees of freedom now. Give that Shift V, a vertical dimension of 120. Maybe this one again, Shift H, negative 5.5, how about? Shift V, 195. 4 degrees. Looks like this could use a vertical. Shift V, 95 again. Oh, looks like we need a tangent right there. 2 degrees. We're almost there. Shift V. Let's go with negative 15. It's not too bad. Maybe we still have 2 degrees here. Ah, yes. What height do we want this? Select that point. Shift V. We'll say 135. How about? And then our last degree of freedom is right here. Of course, we'll go Shift V on that point. 200, right? So a fully defined guitar sketch. Doesn't actually look as bad as I thought it would. So I'll make this downloadable on GrabCAD if you have a hard time following along, because it's kind of a pedantic, detailed sketch. You are welcome to download this and follow along. I'll close this. Now, I really like the part design environment because of the ease of datum planes. You can do this in other parts, but part design has been absolutely fantastic for this sort of thing. First thing I'd like to do, if I actually go in and edit my sketch here, I want to take this and reference this little point here, right? So we're going to go ahead and add in another arc here. We're going to make this equal. Of course, equal in the other direction. There we go. And we're going to add vertical there. We have 1 degree of freedom, which is rather mysterious because that should be 0 degrees. For some reason, it looks like a degree of freedom popped up over here. I'm not exactly sure why. But I'll just give that a horizontal dimension 50. Looks good. Next, let's add in one more arc and add an equal. And we're fully defined. And now we have a nice little selection point right there. We'll do the same over here. Make this guy. And vertical, right? We've done the same thing. We have a nice point right here and some points over here that we can reference. So we'll close that. Next, I want to make another reference sketch on the XY plane. This is going to go from the very center origin up, and this will reference the maximum height we want to have our guitar elements. I'll go Shift V, and how many millimeters? 10 millimeters seems okay, so we'll close that. Now, let's start branching this out. Also, let's see, there's our front view, there's our top view. I actually want to reverse this sketch so that this will be coming out to us. We're going to say -10 instead. And that's what we like. Now I can use this to make some planes. So how about I choose 3 points. There's a point from the reference that we just made. And let's add a plane on those 3 points in part design. Now I'll create a sketch here. Let's import that point that we just created. And I'm going to go straight for a while. Looks like we have a nice vertical constraint added to that. And let's import the center point that we've referenced before. And I'm going to create an arc. It looks like we didn't snap onto that, so let's add a coincident constraint rather there. And let's also add a tangent constraint, of course, with the T key. Bam! We're going to go to here. That's not bad there. So we'll close that. That's kind of cool. All right, so with that, let's make another plane. I'm going to grab let's make another plane here. I'll grab these 2 endpoints and this point here. And something similar. Let's go straight for a little while, and then I can import that 3rd point there that we've created. Another arc. Make sure that we hit the T key and that our sketch is tangent. I'll hit Shift V for vertical dimension. There we go, 60. And we have another part. Spacebar to hide. Let's do another one. I'll highlight this point, that point. So we should have 3 points highlighted. There's our plane. Let's, create a sketch here and then import this point, that point, and then let's go with a straight. I'll add a vertical constraint there, and maybe a nice shallow curve tangent. Shift V to add a vertical, 75 should be fine. All right, let's close that. Now, let's see where we're at. We'll probably need to add 2 more sketches, but it doesn't hurt to check your current status, right? First things first, we'll go to the Surfaces workbench. And we'll choose the first option. Of course, this is a boundary surface. And we're going to add an edge. And I'm going to go all the way around, adding edges. All the way around the sketch that I first made. It is best practice, of course, to add curves sequentially. So add the next curve and the next one, and don't add in a random order. And you can see the surface being generated. Of course, we don't want a planar surface. We want a curvy guitar surface. So we're going to go to Edge Constraints, and we're going to add non-boundary edges. All right, so I click Add Edge here, and I go here to here, and look at that. That surface is a little bit uncontrolled there, but let's see how we do over here. We'll add this edge and that edge, and that surface becomes even more uncontrolled. And we're going to add this edge and this edge. And yeah, we need to add a few more controls to make sure that this is going to work the way that we want it to. So I could continue to add a plane that would, send me a sketch from here to here and from here over to here, and maybe something going across here. So we can use the method that we've been using to help to fine-tune the exact surface we want, right? That's what I'm going for. I'm going to show one other method that I think can be used here, especially on such a complicated shape such as this. And what I'll do is highlight, let's see how we're oriented here, my XZ plane. Let's go to Origin, XZ, and back to Part Design. We'll add in a plane here, and then I choose this point to say we're parallel to the XZ, and that's the maximum height that we want to achieve. So I'm going to say OK to that. And now if I create a sketch on this plane, and the first thing I like to do is hide my datum plane, cleans up my view a little bit. And I'm just going to use a spline approximation here, right? We're going to say that this is an organic shape, and we don't need to be, amazingly exact, because we want the guitar to be a little bit flowy. But I will come through here. That's better. Right, so I've just made a spline that I can tune up a little bit. Just like that. And now, so that I don't, no, let's go a bit smaller in some areas. All right, I like that shape. We'll close that. Now, not to bore you, I'll just reselect everything real quick. All right, now let's go with edge constraints. And let's add a non-boundary edge, and I just select my spline there. And look how everything raises up pretty nicely. Our surface has a little bit of a resolution issue where you see the mesh. That's not a big deal. And if we don't want it to dome like that, oh, there's sorry, you can probably hear my toddler in the background. I don't know if you can or not. But don't worry, everything's fine. Toddler's being taken care of. Let's go to part design. We'll make a sketch on our datum plane. And this time I can do a circle or a line or whatever. I'll just try to draw a line kind of through the middle of everything that's going on, right? Now, not to bore you again, I'll select this stuff. So we're adding our non-boundary edge, and then let's add another edge here. And that helps to flatten things out. Now, of course, it's a little bit of a balancing act. Trying to get the surface just how you want it, but you can always add some lines and whatnot and get this perfect, right? This is as far as I want to go because I think I've covered everything I want to cover. You can just make a plane here and like a little arc going across here if you want to extend some curvature down into that, or just have this sketch. In fact, that's probably even easier to get this sketch. And that's one thing. It really helps to add a lot of points on your B-splines for something like this, because you can help to fine-tune exactly how you want it to go. Look at that. That's cool. We'll close that. And yeah, I think we have parametrically updated. So I think that's actually a better surface. I'll leave that. Now, next step of our guitar, and it looks like, yeah, I think I created a little error there, so I'm going to try that one more time. Alright, so I've selected all that, and now I can go with edge constraints, and we'll add in this non-boundary edge, and this non-boundary edge. And that helps to flatten everything out, and look at that. I think for just working in only a few minutes, we've done a really nice job. So I'll say OK to that. Now I want to track down my original sketch that did my body outline. In this case, it's just called Sketch. And let's work with that a little bit. And I can still possibly do this. Yeah, it's within my body, so I can do this from part design. And part design just has such a nice extrude interface, right? I can extrude up through here, and we can do even a dual dimension. So my first length is 24. My second length is 100. Let me take that down to something like 75 is still a bit tall. 50, right? And this guitar might not be in perfect proportion. In fact, it's looking like it's going to be kind of a scaled down guitar. So next time, be more careful with your dimensions. But this is just a way of showing how to do it, so I'm not too concerned about making a realistic real-life guitar. For goodness sakes, this looks kind of like a Monet guitar. I'll grab my pad and hold Control and grab my surface, And now let's go to the part workbench. This was a feature released in version 0.18, and I think it's absolutely brilliant. We're going to use the slice apart, and now I've got this little folder that showed up in my tree that has 2 slices, and I'm just going to delete the slice that I don't want, and there's my guitar. Let's hide the sketch. And yeah, my guitar looks a little bit meshy right here, but I think you can see the curvature pretty well. So that should be one way of making a guitar. And then if you'd like to see the way that I made this one, this is again just kind of a shape that's somewhat guitar-like, but I didn't use a spline like I did before. I went with the method that we were originally going with. So if I show my sketches, you can see these were the sketches I used to kind of make that curvature. I'll upload both of these to GrabCAD for your reference. This is one of many ways of making a guitar, and there are many ways that I like even more than this. So this is just one way to get you thinking about surfacing and, you know, some of its functions and how it might look in situations where you, say in this case, need to make a guitar. In some future videos, let's go through ways of making a different kind of guitar with different methods that I like even more. So I hope this video was helpful. If it was, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.